All right, so we're going to have another lesson about songs. I have a whole series of these, and so we're going to spend some time looking at music. I'm not going to do them, back to back to back. We'll kind of spread them out, and so we got song sermon number 2 here, and this one is about words and how they matter. And I'm going to start off with a verse, and as I was going through, I realized this is the only verse that I have. So not to take away from the Bible, but we're going to have a lot of Bible things in our songs tonight. But Psalm 100 reads like this. It says, "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name, for the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations." Last time I spoke about music, I talked about how big of music was a part of my life, and because music is enjoyable to listen to. We enjoy music, and our music in our worship is the same. We hear the melodies, and it's fun to listen to. It's beautiful, and it makes us feel good. In this psalm, we can feel David's excitement and I see excitement in it. I don't know about you. I see that he's excited about these songs and how he sings praises to God. I feel his joy when I hear us sing songs here. I feel that same joy because I love the melodies, I love the harmonies, I love how the music works together. But because chord structures, the way they work together, actually create a physical joy within us, and so it's good to listen to. And so I feel this emotion that David was feeling as he sang these songs, because these emotions are not wrong. We should feel emotion. We should embrace the emotion that comes with our singing. But it's also important to understand where David was really coming from in this passage. David felt the joy, but where did his joy come from? I've never met David. I don't know him, but I know a little bit about David through the scriptures. What do we know about David? He was a skilled, and he played instruments skillfully. In fact, he played so skillfully that when Saul wanted somebody to play the harp for him, he told his servants to go out and to find someone who was skillful in playing the harp. And someone said, I remember a boy down the way who played the harp really good. And so they sent the servants out to find him, to bring him in. And so his skill was renowned, and he was recognized. That's in 1 Samuel 16, if you want to check up on me. So David was a musician. He knew music, and he knew how to play beautiful music. So I imagine that he enjoyed the music that he played. I mean, it was something that sounded good to him. But this psalm is not written about the chord structures. That's not what David is writing about here. His joy came from what? His joy came from who God is. Right? David recognizes the goodness of God in this, and this psalm shows David's heart. He sang a song of thankfulness to the Lord. David sang songs to honor the God who saved him so many times in his life. And so a few months ago when we were talking about music and worship, that lesson focused on the different ways that we use music in worship and its ultimate purpose, which is to praise God, right? But this week I want to embrace the joy that we feel in music. And I want us to appreciate the sound, but more importantly, I want us to appreciate what our songs are saying. Okay, I want us to understand that the words matter, and that's what we're going to look at tonight. Because our music should bring us joy, but that joy is only meaningful when it's able to communicate our heart to God. So this comes from singing the words from your heart and singing with true intent. One thing that I took out of this for the sake of time, because I think we're all on the same page here, but I wanted to make mention of it, is that when we're thinking about words, we of course need to make sure that the words that we're singing are biblically accurate. That's the most important thing. And so all of the things we're going to talk about tonight are in the context of words that are accurate to Scripture. And so just have that in the back of your mind. So some of our songs are real easy to understand. If I sing, I love the Lord, He's been so good to me, I know what that means, right? Those words are very clear. I don't have to wonder what that is all about. And because it sends a clear message. Words are for communication, and so we're communicating the idea of what we believe. We believe that the Lord is good to me, and I love Him because of that. But other songs are not so easy to understand, are they? Okay, so when we sing, we need to understand these words. And so when we're singing songs, we need to ask ourselves, what am I communicating to God when I say these words? And can I really mean these words? Are these words truthful? Can I sing these honestly? Because our words send a message, and so what message are we sending? So if we don't understand our words, we aren't understanding the message that we're sending to God. And so, you can't sing with meaning if you don't understand what the words are. And so, most of the times when we can't understand the words, it has to do with our language, right? And there's the old joke how we know that Andy walks with me and Andy talks with me, right? Because we misunderstand. Okay, but we're actually going to go a little deeper than that. Okay, it goes deeper than that. So some of our songs, the first thing we're going to look at is that some of our songs have words that we don't use anymore. Okay, so when we sing words that are not a part of our everyday conversations and our everyday vocabulary, we can start to lose the meaning of the songs, and so we can start singing the notes and singing the words, but the words don't mean anything to us because we don't know what those words are. But if we just take the time to look at the words, understand the words, we can understand how beautiful some of these songs are. So let's look at Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. If you want to open it up, you can do that. I'm going to have it up here also. Because we're going to take a look at the lyrics here. We're going to see what the message the author is trying to convey with the words that they wrote in these songs. So this song is a powerful prayer, and a prayer that is calling the singer is calling on God to help them. It's calling on help from God. And so it starts out, Come thou fount of every blessing. So this song opens up calling God a fountain with blessings that flow, and He's the source of goodness. And so we see the goodness of God, and so it's addressed to Him, the God of goodness. And then it says, Tune my heart to sing thy grace. So here the singer is asking God to adjust or tune his heart to sing the praises of His grace. So he recognizes God's glory and he wants to praise Him for it. And so then he says streams of mercy never ceasing. So the fountain now becomes a stream, right? So this reminds me of a mountain stream. And so these are waters that continually flow. You can sit by a mountain stream and watch those waters for days and weeks and months, and those waters are never going to stop. They're going to keep going, and they're going to keep flowing over those rocks. And that's the way God's blessings are to us. The water continues to flow, and God's mercy continues to flow in the same way. It never stops. It continually covers us with peace, and God's mercy comes to us from an eternal source. It's never going to run out, and so it's never going to dry up, and so we can always count on those blessings, and so that's why those streams of mercy are never ceasing. And then it says, we call for songs of loudest praise. So the fact that God's mercy never ends causes us to praise. It makes our heart rejoice. And so His bountiful gifts compel us to sing praises to Him with the loudest voice, to shout it from the mountaintops. Okay, so that's what he says I'm shouting this. This is something that's good, and I want everybody to know it. The next line says, teach me ever to adore thee. May I still thy goodness prove. This is asking for God's help to recognize what he's done for us so that we can prove his goodness to all who will listen to us, okay? So by living that out and living that in our lives, we're showing God's goodness in our lives. And so we're asking, teach me to adore you. I want to adore you in the fullest sense, and so I can prove your goodness to the world around me. So he says, while the hope of endless glory fills my heart with joy and love. So while I'm showing goodness, his endless glory fills us with joy and love. Verse 2 says, here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come. Woo! What is all of this about, right? So this is where we really start to, before it's just kind of poetry if we just think about it. But now we're talking about an Ebenezer and hither thy help. So we have to understand what these things mean. So this is one of those words that we don't know. So this is a reference to 1 Samuel 7:12. In 1 Samuel chapter 7, the Philistines are attacking the Israelites, and the Israelites ask Samuel to pray to God for them. So Samuel offers a sacrifice and prays to God for his protection. So God hears Samuel, and and then God confused the Philistines and caused them to lose the battle. They started attacking themselves. And so then in verse 12, it says this, then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shin, and called his name Ebenezer, for he said, till now the Lord has helped us. Ebenezer means stone of help. So in Hebrew, it means stone of help. So this is saying that all who sing this song recognize that God has provided them with help, provided them with blessings, and their lives are blessed because of what God is giving them. So it's a praise to God for his provision in our lives, for the things that he has given us, for the things that he does for us. So he says, here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come. I've come to your help. You're the one who provides help. So the next line says, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. So speaking of God's help, we desire to have a home with God in heaven, but we cannot do it alone. This is telling God that we know we need his help to get there. And then Jesus sought me when a stranger. So this is a beautiful thought. This says that when Jesus pursued us, he pursued us when we were still a stranger to him. So we didn't know him, but he sought us out anyway, and he provided a way for us to come back to him. Then wandering from the fold of God. What do we think of when we think about wandering from the fold, right? We think about the little lost lamb. Okay, so he was a stranger to us because we were wandering around aimlessly. We weren't paying attention to where we were going, and we were going wherever we wanted to go, and so we weren't in his fold. So we were sheep that could not find the fold of God that he's provided for us. So just like the lost sheep, in this parable, Jesus talks about how he is going to go out and find the one lost sheep. He leaves the 99 sheep to seek out the one that was lost. So Jesus was never satisfied with just 99. He wants everybody, and he's going to chase after even that last one. So that every sheep matters to Jesus, and that's a great comfort to us. And so he wants to make sure every one of us gets in the fold. Then he says, he to rescue me from danger interposed his precious blood. Interposed is another word that we don't use very often. Sometimes we do, but it's not an everyday vocabulary word. So the definition of interpose is, first of all, it's place or insert between one thing and another, or intervene between two parties. So Jesus did both of these for us. That's who Jesus is for us. He intervened on our behalf. So Jesus' death and resurrection placed himself between our sin and the justice of God. So because of Jesus' blood, God no longer sees our sin. He can forgive us because all he sees is the righteousness of Christ, because that's what's blocking our sin. Christ comes between that and puts us in a state of salvation. So he intervened on our behalf to pay the debt that we owed. So we continue on. We can look at verse 3, but I think you're kind of getting the idea. So we'll sing verse 3. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. That we're obligated to him because of the debt. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. A fetter, that's another word we don't know. Anybody know what a fetter is? Raise your hand if you know a fetter. Okay, a fetter is, if you've ever seen a prisoner with chains around his ankles, that's a fetter, okay? And so he says that, let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. And so so this is usually associated with a prisoner, right? So this phrase is calling on God's goodness and asking him to chain us to him. We want to be chained to him. We never want to leave him. We want to be ever bound to him forever. And that's what those fetters are. We never want to take those chains off our legs. So never let me wander from thee, never leave the God I love. Another verse of this song says, prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. And so I'm always pulled away, but he always brings me back. And then the last line of this says, here's my heart, oh take and seal it for thy courts above. This is a powerful phrase here. So the singer is offering God his heart. He's saying, here's my heart, take and seal it. And this seal is like a seal of protection. And so it's God's seal of approval, and it's something that's set so that he has authenticated our heart to be in the heavenly courts. Okay, so this sets us as someone who is his. He's claimed us with his seal. So anyway, these are just some quick thoughts as we go through this song. And so you see, as we look at these phrases, we can see how this song makes a bold case for God's providence. And it shows us how much he loves us and how much we owe him for what he's given us. So I want you to think of these things as we sing this song. And we're going to sing, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. I want you to remember all the things that we just talked about.
Come thou fount of every blessing, to my heart to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me ever to adore thee, may I still thy goodness prove, while the hope of endless
All right, so we have a. Is that where I was? Okay, I cut a slide out there. All right, so our words help us to understanding the words help us to know what the song is about, and it gives us it gives us meaning for what we're singing. And so hopefully, understanding those words made that song mean a little bit more to you. And the more we get into these songs, the more we will see how powerful the words are in our music. But sometimes we wonder if the word we're singing is really even a word at all, okay? And so I'm thinking of this because of a song that I'm sure all of us have sung before, Kumbaya, right? Okay, so Kumbaya is one of those words. You're like, what is this? And so we've all heard tales of where this comes from. Most of us probably know what this word means, and it's what is it? Come by here, right? Okay, and so maybe you've heard a story about missionaries in Africa bringing a song back, and so that's where it comes from. It's an African song. Because if you want to look at your books, I don't even know what I had it written down. Anyway, what 986. If you want to, you can open to 986. You can look at the bottom there. It even says Afro-American spiritual at the bottom, okay? So it claims, and I think your books even have an asterisk on there saying, hey, kumbaya means come by here, right? But the problem with that is that the kumbaya is not an African word in any known African language, okay? And so there's, I guess it's a possibility there's a language we don't know that was brought over, and so I read a fascinating article when I was looking at this about a guy who is back in the 40s, and he traveled around the nation and I think the world, if I remember right. It's been a while since I read it. But he brought along with him a recording device, and he went to these different tribes, these different places around America where they were singing this song, and he recorded them singing. And the article had links to these recordings, and so little cylinder recordings, and it was very fascinating. But come to find out that the strongest belief for this word is that it comes from a let me find it here in my notes. I don't want to get it wrong. It's called the Gula tribe off of, I believe, North Carolina. It's a tribe that it's I mean, it is an African American tribe, but they're not singing an African word. Their language is so heavily accented. You can hear it on these recordings that when they sing "Come by here," it is so accented it sounds like kumbaya. And so they believe that's where it came from. And of course, there's a lot of these that are lost. The records are lost. We don't know necessarily because they're all passed down orally. So I'm not saying that's where it is from. I'm not putting my foot down saying that's where it's from. But all the evidence points towards that being an earlier oral passing down of a tribe singing this in a very heavily accented tongue, and just singing "Come by here." So it literally does mean "come by here," but maybe not in the way that you thought of it. But and then also this word, other reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this when I was a kid, kumbaya was kind of a joke, because this song was adopted by protesters in the 60s, and it became a symbol for, hey, let's just all be happy. You think about this, I put this picture up for a reason. Let's just sit around the campfire and everybody get along, and so it's kind of gotten a negative connotation with it, but really it's something that is very spiritual and very deep. And so, and there's many verses to this, and so the song is in your book, but there's only 3 verses there, but there's probably about 30 or 40 verses to this song. We're not going to sing all of those, but I did put some on a PowerPoint slide. I think all of us know this song well enough that we can just sing it from the PowerPoint, so we can have a few extra verses that you may not see there. So sing this song because this is a powerful song, and it is asking for God to come to us it's calling on Him that we rely on His strength, and that through His strength we can endure the things, and because this was from a time, and it's sung by people who dealt with a lot of trials and struggles in their life, and so it is an African American, a spiritual, but it's something that is very deep and meaningful for them to try to endure the hardships that they are going through in their lives. So think about those things as we sing Kumbaya.
Come by here, my Lord, come by here, come by here, my Lord, come by here, come by here, my Lord, come by here, oh Lord, come by here. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya.
All right, so we've looked at a couple ways that our language can keep us from understanding the songs that we sing. We had a word that really isn't a word. It's a misunderstanding of a word. And we've looked at a song that used a bunch of words that we don't use anymore. But another way that our language can keep us from understanding the songs is ones that uses a lot of imagery and figures of speech. Sometimes we can get lost in these words and we miss the depth of the song because we're trying to figure out what it means, or we can't understand what it means. And so I thought a good song to illustrate this is "O Sacred Head," because this song is about the pain that Jesus endured for us. The first verse paints a picture of the battered and beaten Jesus, and then the second verse talks about our response to his sacrifice. I'm going to start moving through these songs a little bit quicker because I've got several I want to get through, and I'm having a ball, but I also respect your time, so we're going to move through these quicker. First one says, "O sacred head, now wounded with grief and shame weighed down." The sacred head is an image of Jesus. This phrase shows that Jesus' physical wounds are not the only wounds that he endured on the cross. This phrase makes brief mentions of the wounds, but then that he received, but it focuses on his emotional wounds that he endured, the wounds that came from his grief and his shame, the emotional pain that Jesus endured weighed hard on him. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, we saw that. And so this is what this is addressing. It says, "How scornfully surrounded with thorns, thine only crown." I think we can understand that. How art thou pale with anguish, with sore abuse and scorn? So we saw the blood dripping from him, and all of his blood flowed out. That's when they put the stick up to his side. It didn't have blood anymore because all of his blood had left. So that's the pale with anguish, sore abuse and scorn. So here's the physical things that he endured. And then it says, "How does that visage languish, which once was bright as morn?" So this talks, the visage is the face, okay? So his face is pained, but once he was bright and happy and he was talking to people, but now his face has pain on it, and it talks about, and so it shows again his suffering in a very deep and meaningful way. It says, "What language shall I borrow to thank thee, dearest friend, for this thy dying sorrow, thy pity without end?" He's saying, the singer says, I don't have the words. The words are not sufficient to properly thank you for what you have done for me, for what you have endured, for what you have gone through. He's searching for words, and he wonders if someone else might have the words that he could borrow, because he doesn't have them. He said, can you give me some words, because the words I have aren't enough. And so he's looking for a way to thank God. But ultimately, there are no words that can express what he had to go through. Words are not enough. And so that's what that. And then he says, "O make me thine forever, and should I fainting be." So now we see that the author has been. This is what he's been building to since he started this song. So he said, "O sacred head," he's been building to this point where he's acknowledging that what Jesus went through for us, and he now vocalizes his deepest desire. What does he want more than anything else? To belong to Christ forever, to never leave me. Okay, never, and so make me thine forever. And so this last line, though, really brings it all home. This last line here really makes it powerful. So he says, "Lord, let me never outlive my love for thee." As long as he lives, he wants to love Christ. He would rather that his life be taken from him before his love dies. He doesn't want to leave this earth before his love goes away. So this song beautifully describes a suffering Savior. It gives a haunting detail into the anguish that he endured. And then it describes the desperation that we feel as we cry, as we try to come to terms with what Jesus did for us. So think about these things.
O sacred head, thou wounded with grief and shame weighed down, now scornfully surrounded with thorns, thy only crown. How art thou pale with anguish, with sore abuse and
These are only a few examples of how these songs can be so meaningful. We could go through literally the entire songbook and do some similar things. But it's easy for us to ignore a song when it doesn't make sense. And if it's led, we just sing the words not knowing what we're saying. And we should never avoid a song because we don't understand its meaning. Its meaning's not clear. But as we've seen tonight, all it takes is a little bit of effort and maybe a little bit of research. Go on Google and find out what these words mean. So if we take time to understand the words of the song, it's going to come to life for us and challenge us to live for Him in much stronger ways. And He's going to become a lot more meaningful and personal to us when we understand these words. But sometimes we hear a song so often that the impact that the lyrics once had on us, they kind of go away. So I'm asking you to look at this song with fresh eyes, okay? Listen to our hearts. At the beginning of this lesson tonight, I mentioned how we need to sing from the heart. We should always try to understand the words that we're singing, but sometimes it's hard to put into words how we feel about God. And because He has an amazing love for us. And so it's sometimes hard for us to express that. So this song talks about how inadequate our words are. And we serve an amazing God who has given us a gift beyond anything that we could ever hope for. So no matter how many words I use, no matter how long I can talk, I can never tell God how much His gift means to me. So this chorus, the chorus of this song says that it's telling God that I don't have the words. Only my heart can say what I'm trying to say. Kind of like right now, only my heart can say what I'm trying to say. And so he's saying, since I can't say it with words, listen to my heart. Listen to what my heart is trying to say. So let me read the lyrics. Let's read the lyrics real quick. How do you explain, how do you describe a love that goes from east to west and runs as deep as it is wide? You know all our hopes, Lord, you know all my fears, and words cannot express the love we feel, but we long for you to hear. If words could fall like rain from these lips of mine, and if I had 1,000 years, Lord, I would still run out of time. If you listen to my heart, every beat will say, thank you for the life, thank you for the truth, and thank you for the way. Who's that? That's Jesus. Thank you for Him. So listen to our hearts, hear our spirits sing a song of praise that flows from those that you have redeemed. We will use the words we know to tell you what an awesome God you are, but words are not enough to tell you of our love, so listen to our hearts. When we sing this song, I want you to sing this song trying to make these lyrics come from your heart. Do you really want God to listen to your heart? If God was listening to your heart, what would He hear? Would you hear what He wants you to hear or what you want Him to hear? Is your heart telling Him that you love Him, or is it telling Him that you're ready for this Sunday to be over so you can get back to your life? What is your heart saying? So if you can't sing that, if you really don't want God to listen to your heart, don't sing this song. Because when you sing the words of this song, you're saying, God, listen. What I have in here is what I'm trying to express to you. And so that's what I want you to think about as you're singing this. And if you can't sing it, don't sing it. If you can't mean it, don't sing this song. But if you can, let's sing, listen to our hearts.
How do you explain? How do you describe a love that goes from east to west and runs as deep as it is wide? You know all our hopes, Lord, you know all our fears,
I think I was probably in the 7th grade when I learned that words matter. I'd always loved music. I told you guys the last time I spoke to you how important music was to me. But I have a core memory the night music became more than just notes to me. The details are fuzzy. I was kind of young, but I remember the way I felt. You see it coming back to me, so I'm sorry. But this is, from the fuzzy details, this is what I remember. I was at a youth rally in a rural Kansas church. It's the first youth rally I can really remember going to. I'm sure I went to others, but it's the first one I remember. I was surrounded by so many people that I didn't know, and my insecurities were showing. I was very socially insecure as a kid. But I did enjoy the music. I loved hearing all the kids singing. I never sung with so many kids before. It was a lot of fun, and I remember enjoying it. So we were singing songs, and then the song leader stopped, and he started talking about the next song that we were going to sing. It was the song "Make Me a Servant." He said, and so this is a song that I had sung before. It wasn't new to me. But at that time, I didn't know a lot of songs, but I knew this one. The song leader, he talked about the words and the meaning of the words of this song, and he talked about how powerful they were, and then he started reading the lyrics. And he read, "Make me a servant, Lord, make me like you. For you are a servant, make me one too." When I was a kid, the words that we sing a lot were different, okay? When I was a kid, we sang here, "Mold me and shape me. Do what you must do to make me a servant, make me like you." So he started talking about the lyrics of this song. He said that this song is a prayer to God. It says that you're willing to be His servant. You're willing to serve Him and serve others for Him. The song is you asking God to mold you and shape you, not into something that you want to be, but into something that He wants you to be. It's saying, I'm willing, Lord, to be in your hands. I'm willing for you to shape me in any way you want. Whatever is best for you, that's what I want for me. You're giving God permission to do whatever He needs to make you like Him. So then the song leader told the audience, he said he's going to lead this song, and he wants everybody to stand up and sing this song. But he says, if you can't sing the words of this song, don't sing them. So stay seated. No one is going to notice that you're sitting down. If you can stand to sing this song, stand and sing it. I don't know if I was the only one who stayed seated, because I tell you, I didn't sing that song that day. My eyes were filled with tears. I was crying, and I didn't notice anybody else because I was trying to understand my place with God. I didn't understand it. I was too young to understand it. But the room was full of standing kids singing, "Make me a servant, Lord, make me like you." And I heard those words, and they came inside of me, but I couldn't get them out myself. And so this as you can understand, affected me. Still, I didn't expect this. I apologize. But that day I learned that words matter. Words have a meaning, have a purpose. So when I learn a new song, I'm not listening. I listen to the music because I love the music, but I'm listening to those words. What do those words mean? I sing with praise and harmony, and I scrutinize those songs. Can I really sing those songs? Because some of those songs I'm not sure I can sing, right? And so we have to make sure that we are we sing these words, that we're singing the words with intent, and we know what we're singing, and we know that we can sing them. And so tonight, as we close, I'm going to make the same challenge to you. We're going to sing "Make Me a Servant," and if this is a song that you can sing from your heart, that you can believe in this, that you truly want God to mold you and shape you into whoever He wants you to be, if that's something you can sing, then we're going to sing that here in a minute. If you can't sing that, it's okay. Do not force yourself to sing something that you do not feel in your heart. Do not force yourself to conform to the people who are around you. No one here is going to judge you. No one here is going to look down on you. We love you, and we want to help you. So if you want to come forward and talk about why you can't sing that song, we would love to hug you, and we would love to help you through that. But if you can sing that song and sing it with meaning and sing it with conviction, let's stand and sing this song now.
Seated. We'll have our shepherds